It's Marie with Angelic Butterfly Kisses Nursery. Here today we're going to be making a little body for this little guy, just getting started on it. And you guys want to sculpt along with me, feel free to. I wanted to talk to you about the last video I did. We were trying to get some subscribers so I could go live up to 100 subscribers. We are currently at 26, I believe, and that's good. I was only at like 3, I believe, so it's working. If you want to keep sharing, that'll we're almost there. We're a quarter of a way there, so it'll be better once we're up at 100 and I can go live and we can get on there and work together. And this fly's bothering me. So you'll have that. But wanted to show you guys today how to make a foil armature for your little critters like this. And this guy has black glass eyes with 3 eyelids. So I'm going to set him down. And what I do is I grab my aluminum foil and I start very carefully crumbling the aluminum foil into his body shape, which will be, he's a primate. He's going to be a pygmy marmoset. So he's going to be just a little guy. So I'm going to be scrunching this up all into, and typically the body on a human measures 1.5 head size, including the neck. The torso and the body is 1.5 head sizes. So you want to measure your head. So we have 1 head, and then the half of a head down. You want to make sure it's correct, so your proportions are all correct. Now, because I'm not live yet, and because the videos do take so long to upload, we'll start on this little guy. I don't know how much my little tot will let me get into the video, but we'll just keep sculpting until I have to finish. And my toddler also got into my tools this week and decided he was going to, that fly wants to be in our YouTube video too, but he wanted to misplace my favorite smoothing tool, and I've reordered that, but it's going to take me a couple weeks to get that back. And after you have that proportioned like you want it, just, if you need to, you can mush it up against your tile. And I apologize if I bump into my camera, I don't mean to. But in the meantime, I'm going to be using my wooden smoothing tool, because I also have this backup smoother. It's not as great as my last one, but it will do. I have my conditioned clay over here, and like I said, you always want to wash your hands even after you handle the foil, because sometimes that foil will leave a residue on your hands. So I'm going to do a quick wipe down real quick, and I always keep these wet wipes at my desk, and I just do a quick wipe down really quick. But you want to make sure your hands are thoroughly dry before you touch your clay again, because you don't want to mess with the composition of the clay. And the fly says hi again. He really wants to make his own YouTube video. Hello, fly. But anyways, I'm just being goofy, which I tend to be. I have 5 children. Well, I have 6 children, but my oldest, he lives out on his own. So what I'm doing is I'm flattening this out, the conditioned clay that I already have conditioned, and then I'm going to just start placing it on my armature. Piece of foil that fell off. Some people do wrap their foil with masking tape or floral tape, the white floral tape, not the green, for obvious reasons. And a lot of people also use wire in their armatures. For this one, I'm not using the wire for his arms and his legs on the body. I will, and I'll show you that in a future video, how I'm going to attach those separately, because I want his arms and legs to move, and I have to play around and figure that out. But that's pretty thin, so I'm going to get me some more clay. I'm going to condition it. And be really careful while you're conditioning your clay not to get any air bubbles there, and so you don't have any moonies when you bake your clay. Once it's conditioned, you said you want to continue covering the body. But these are how I do my armatures as of right now. I don't like the way the tape feels on my armatures against the clay, and that's just a personal preference. Everyone is entitled to their own preference. And you want to kind of keep it even. You don't want to make it too thin in some areas. So I'm going to get some more clay and condition some more. But this guy will be covered in fur as well, so a lot of these pretty characteristics will be covered up by that fur. You won't be able to see a lot of it, which will make me sad because I worked really hard on him. He's a cute little guy though. He'll be even cuter with the fur. Like I said, when we get 100 subscribers, once we get that going and I'm able to go live, we'll start working on a totally different, I would like to do a creature. I have something in mind. I won't give it away, but I would like to start that from scratch, armature and all, right with you guys, to where you guys can sculpt along with me step by step, ask questions along with me. So make sure you share my page, and once we get to 100 likes I'll let you know. And it's just I've been really busy. The kids are getting ready to go back to school, and we went back to school shopping today, and that was crazy. You want to make sure that the seams are smoothed together. You don't want to leave any of that out. You don't want to leave any foil exposed. But see how it's thin right there? The foil will actually start showing through there. That's why you want to make sure it's a constant consistency throughout the armature. Make sure it's covered all the same. And you want to have reference pictures of the critter you're creating. If you have one from the internet that you've been researching, and that's where I found these little pygmy marmosets. I thought they were too cute and I was going to sculpt one, so I have a reference picture on my phone that I refer back to. And if you're sculpting from an idea that you have, it's always good to draw that out and have that picture to refer back to, so you're not just like, oh, what was that idea that I had? And it's never good to have to constantly stop and think while you're sculpting. Sculpting is very therapeutic for me. It's something I really enjoy doing a lot. Call this my wooden thumb. I don't know why. But it's practically what it is, and I just kind of mash that clay there and it kind of blends it in. It's a little too thin right there, so I'm going to move some of my clay around. And again, you want to remember not to smear your clay. You don't want to tear. And some people, you know, they always use their tile that they work on. Mine is a marble ceramic tile, and I use that because it's easy that I can just bake on right on that. I take that right to my oven and pop it in there. And also, my last tips and tricks video that I did, I left out that you should really have, and this is probably the #1 tip, you should really have a really good working oven thermometer separate from the one on your stove, just to make sure that you don't burn your clay or your projects, because I mean really you don't want to spend all those hours on something to stick it into an oven that you're unsure about the temperatures on. It's not ever fun to go back to an oven to a burnt project. That's for sure. And I also wanted to show you guys the dilutant I was talking about is this clay softener, Sculpey clay softener. It's only like 3 something at Hobby Lobby. I used 40% of this to 60%. It's 40% mixture of that and 60% of 90% alcohol, rubbing alcohol from the store. And right now this looks like a potato, but yeah, that's what I use when I go to finally smooth my finished sculpt. That's what I personally use. A lot of people use acetone, and you got to be really careful on using that, and it'll leave white streaks if you use too much of that on your sculpt. Alcohol will also do the same thing, so you have to, that's why I use the dilutant of the clay softener and the alcohol. That way I don't have white streaks all over. Some people use coconut oil, some people use mineral oil, some people use baby oil. I can't speak from those experiences because that's not something I have done personally. I used baby oil one time on my little fairy, I just finished her, and she is cute. She didn't have any imperfections, so I can say that the baby oil worked on her, but she's just a tiny little sculpt. I wouldn't want to risk using such a large amount of anything on a bigger sculpt that I was unsure about. But yeah, now I've got the armature completely covered, and this is where you want to go in afterwards, and you're going to want to smooth it all out. A lot of people don't even worry about smoothing at this process, but at this step process, I'm losing my words. But I do, because I'm a perfectionist about everything. You do want to make sure though that there's constant consistency of the clay around, and pretty much the general shape. You don't want it to get out of proportion on you. So this is going to be kind of his little body, if you can see it like that. His main body. He's going to have a little neck, but it's going to be his main body. And I'm going to add the details on top of that, and see there's a little piece of, and you always want to keep your clay clean throughout the process. Like if you get specks of foil or dirt or anything in there, you kind of want to pick those out right away, or your clay will get dirty and get mushy. Anyways, so that step of the armature is done. It's nice and covered. So this is where you go in and you add the details. You know, you add the, for instance, this one is going to have the, there's the fly again. He's going to have a chest area, but I'm not for sure how much detail will show through his fur. But I think I'm going to go for now, and we'll start on the details the next video, to be honest. But if you want to share my video, and we'll work on getting to those 100 subscribers so we can work on those details in person, live. That way you can ask questions and work along with me, and I won't get too far ahead, and maybe, you know, we can start that new critter together. That would be great. And thanks a lot. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and my like, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.